What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 16 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Khatep Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, 'twas an end to exile, or at least the tech has been completed, giving us a pretty darn decent buff faction-wide. Complete immunity to attrition, which will allow us to travel to Shakara and across the sea without trouble. 25% cooldown reduction to all spells, which is going to be particularly nice for the lore of Shakara, as we want to spam the cheap spells over and over and over again in order to keep that little bit of healing up and running for those armies that can make use of it. And of course all the other stuff, casualty replenishment rate, spell resistance, just buffs to our regiments of renown and to our legion units. In addition to that, we acquired the 5th out of 8th books of Nagash now out of Kurun, and have vassalized both the Bretonnians and the Empire as well. So, and both of these little human factions are now ours. We don't really care about them, but they will provide us, or continue to provide us, with tribute similar to the elves, and that's what we want. The less money we have to make directly from our territories, the more we can, not collect income and just have those territories grow instead, which means more units. And just gotta get those capacities and armies and research rate up and running. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time around, I don't think that there's much, if anything, to do this turn. Hetekor is still just sort of here watching Be'lakor, and Be'lakor will be the last on our stop, or Khatep's stop, before heading down here to Lustria and grabbing the other 2 books. And well, if it isn't the Citadel of Dusk again, they're going for the Galleon's Graveyard. Frankly, it doesn't really do anything for us, so we probably don't actually care about it at all. We have pure immunity to attrition, so the immunity to reef attrition does nothing, and it's not really a defensible position. We'll just let them have it. They're not willing to peace out. They don't like us very much, so we'll just ignore them. Maybe we'll sail an army down there at some point to kill them off, or maybe one of our vassals will do it for us. We shall see. Anyway, that looks good. Well, minus the fact that that place is gonna fall. Naktom Hot, keep waiting, man. You've been waiting for a while, but eventually your waiting will come to an end, just like Khatep's exile. The rest of this is looking good, so we can skip the hero non-moves, skip the buildings, end the turn, and see if we got any fights coming to us. Probably only a matter of time before Shakara attacks us. She really doesn't like us, but that's why we're sending King Roprafas and his new and improved ASAPH army. Gotta try out that Bone Giant together with all the other range units. We'll see what Shakara here does as well. And of course, Ikit is coming to grab Bordelot. We don't really care about Bordelot, but at the same time we can't trade it, because if we did, the garrison would disappear, and then Ikit would be able to freely occupy it. So, not so great. Be'lakor, funnily enough, wants peace, and is willing to give us a decent amount of cash for it, but I don't really see any reason to do so, as it's not to our advantage. Melwin's going to attack that Galleon's Graveyard as expected, and we're just going to auto-resolve it because we don't care about it, and he will actually occupy it. We can't give it to anybody because Confederation between Worldwalkers and Scaling, nice for them. We can't give it to anybody because we don't know any Vampire Coast, and even if we did, would we want to? Anyway, settlement lost. Ikit Claw is he at sea? He's still at sea. We can't reach him with Anwar in regular stance. You know what, Anwar, try to land at Bordelot, and ooh, hello. Friedrich Rotep is going to Mousillon. Alright, Anwar is able to land, which probably, you're able to get inside the settlement, fantastic. Yeah. I was wondering, maybe we could leave the march stance and immediately attack Ikit, but alas, not the case. I don't think he's going to attempt to fight us. At least I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll keep you there. Khatep, you've got a date with the belly, so you're gonna go into march stance, and ooh. Remnants of Battle, I always forget. Remnants of Battle is fight or no fight? Guess we're about to find out. I don't want to waste Khatep's... I don't want you to move all the way to the center of the damn island. Go here. Alright, let's see if it's fight or not. And it is not a fight. Beautiful. We will go for Hall of True Silver, Ensorcelled Blades, melee attack and melee defense. Yeah, sure, that'll work nicely. And then stay in march stance and get ready to move up here. Oh, did Be'lakor defeat Alariel? because we see that the power of nature is up at the Isle of Wights. Huh, but interestingly enough, he's not attempting to take it. Well, the elves can hold on to it, we don't really care about it. We sort of want Conquata, because the Ohm Stones are a nice faction-wide buff, both for the magic and the control. But fortifying these other two settlements, kind of an iffy proposition for the Tomb Kings, generally speaking, because their garrisons are just atrocious. Anyway, Ramaranef, you're more or less good to go. I think we're just able to march stance you out here, assuming, of course, they're... Oh, right, we're completely immune to attrition. We no longer have to move and be wary of it. It's a beautiful thing. Well, away you go, buddy. And you're still recruiting the last of your war dancers, actually, speaking of. How much more do we need for the last war dancer? 58. Okay, we're a little bit of a ways away. Ally missions. Heralds of Ariel. What do we have nearby that will give us enough? Leaf Gold Branson. Morcar. I guess we'll take Be'lakor here. Kuran, Harganeth. Helkeek. I don't think we're going after. A Nairath, we might... Oh, hello. I got a full stack here. Maybe a Nairath. There's potential for it, or we could do Garakas Hastling. I don't know. And spread it around a little bit. You can do... Gulbranson, and then Kuran you can do... Who haven't we done? Have Thor, Mammoth Rider. Sure, why not? Alright, just spreading it around a little bit so that we can sort of not rely on only one lord, because if we defeat that, or somebody else rather defeats that one lord, then we don't get the reward. Anyway, King Raprafas. Well, I was going to send you to Karand Kar, but this army is kind of making me nervous. So let's put you right... You know what, let's go to the march stance. Let's put you right to the edge of this territory, right here. And then we can either head to Nagrar if an Arath grabs it, or we can head to Karand Kar next turn, depending on what these guys do. Looks like Shakara is actually moving south, which would leave Karand Kar, I would say, somewhat open to attack. They do have a decent garrison there, but because of the relative weakness of this army, or at the very least on paper, weakness of this army, they would maybe be willing to sally out. You, entomb yourself beneath the sands, and then... Okay, actually... I guess the question is, where are we sending you? If we send the Ushabti down to fight the lizards, which we very well could, we can just keep moving southward, or we could have you fight up here instead. We do need to send somebody to Norska and then maybe around here just to have fun while Khatep travels the world. We probably won't need more than 2 armies with him to go from here, and besides, Khatep can sort of deal with the lizards and the other book here, and then by the time he's traveling to Nehekara, we can have another army or 2 travel this way, and just sort of cut across. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about where we're sending the Ushabti army now, but for now, just do the Ushabti thing. Alright, and then keep building more Ushabti. That's what I meant by the Ushabti thing. Let's see. I get a couple more regular Ushabti, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 1 more. We have room for 3 more, which would be 2 more Necrotects, and I suppose 1 mage, since we don't have a mage. The constructs, I believe, don't benefit from the healing offered by the lore of Nehekara, meaning we wouldn't want to bother with it. Although I suppose we would then be missing out on Skullstorm, which is nice, admittedly. Nonetheless, I think Lore of Death would be much more appropriate for the Ushabti here. But anyway, we'll see as we go. For now, head to Kor Naktom Hut. You are good, and there looks like there's not much to do. And ooh, Wisdom of the Fourth Dynasty up next turn, which means another army. Great to see. We do have other stuff to recruit. In fact, well, let me just see here. What do we have available in terms of capacities? Not much, to be perfectly honest. We do have those tomb barks that we want to build. I do want to get 2 into the flying army because it feels like it's appropriate. I mean, we could just replace it all with flyers, but I don't know, I'll think about it. It's just that the tomb barks are chariots, and let me just see here. The chariots share buffs with Cameron War Sphinxes. I mean, like, we could use a couple of these to support the Sphinx army, and then probably a couple of them to support the chariot army. Yeah, alright. We still have the Scorpion army to build. The Scorpion capacity is fine. The Scorpions would probably do well with the, with Tomb Guard. Then again, we already have Tomb Guard here. On the other hand, what do you really have a choice with with regards to having a melee line on the Tomb Kings? It's basically Tomb Guard or Nehekara Warriors, which aren't really supposed to be a main line anyway. Anyway, that's for next turn. Let's do building, let's end the turn, let's proceed. Red Desert, you are at 78 -1, so you're still okay, or at least relatively so, and just keep collecting money. Ashen Coast, you are at -4, so you're okay for now. You don't need to build anything. Iron Mountains, you definitely do need to build stuff, and while I do like you collecting money, you won't be able to do so for too long. Now let's build up your lone column here. Got to get that research and growth, which we've been doing everywhere. And I guess it doesn't really matter which one of these we build up right now. Let's start with you. And then we don't need to do anything about the obelisk, at least not yet. We need it for the additional public order here, but we'll delete that in a bit. Anyway, Bordelot, I'm just ignoring you for now. And Iron Sand Desert, you're still good to collect income. Frigid Wasteland, Palace of Ruin, we are going to be trading you. We could also build another... build another military structure here. Now we're intent on trading you either to the Wood Elves or to the Dark Elves, maybe doing some switcheroos to get in a little bit of additional relationship with both of them. Dracula and Eldar Spire, you're both fine. Can you collect income for a little bit, maybe? Yeah, you can collect income for a little bit. At least while you're in Worship of ASAPH. It'll be a while, I think, before we can build a tomb city here at the Iron Coast. Iron Foothills. You have to maintain public order, and I guess we're gonna have to switch you to Worship of Construction Reduction, at least for a turn, but can probably, or want to probably, build up the base marble quarry. I mean, now that, well... we should still be fine. I was just wondering whether we'll get screwed by switching to the Worship of Construction Reduction, which I don't imagine we will, or at least shouldn't. Dagrax and Iron Frost and Glacier Encampment, you're kind of in the same position. We could start building one of these without reducing the construction cost, and I think we probably should, just because we want this... You know what, actually don't build anything there. The thing is, we'll reduce the time anyway by getting that public order up. So we are better off just waiting. Clarkarond. Just to double check, okay, the layers of Clarkarond are tier 4, so we can't do anything about that. What we can do something about is... So you're at 72, meaning next turn, your public order will be okay. This is giving us +9, so if we switch, it won't be so good. I guess we can wait another turn here. What we can do, however, is build one of these. Tannery. How many turns? 7 turns? Yeah, we want this maxed out to reduce the time it takes. It's fair. Safari, you, I think, are fine and are waiting for your public order. Spiteful Peaks. We should build stuff here. We are in Worship of Construction Reduction and otherwise are good. So, let's go for the gold mine. And we'll keep the public order buildings, or at least most of the public order buildings. I mean, we could get rid of one of them... For now, we'll build a Faded Pyramidion here. Actually, probably use a little bit more growth, but we're probably fine. And then get rid of, let's say, this public order structure. And, I mean, technically we need another Faded Pyramidion, but that's -8 public order loss. But we should still be okay in this particular area. At least for a bit. Alright, Black Flood, you are in construction reduction, and your public order is relatively okay, so you're looking good. Let's upgrade... Okay, I guess you first. Mortuary Sanctum, get another one of these marble monoliths. And that's about it. Don't collect income, don't pass go, etc. Titan Peaks. We can't do anything about you. Because we need to wait for the public order to fix itself. Also, you're building pretty much everything that you need to be built. Ooh, wait. Burial pits are nearly finished. Okay, for one turn, I guess we need to switch you to Worship of Construction Reduction, as we need the tier 4 of this, as it'll give us additional capacities. Good. Good additional capacities, including Ushabti and stuff. Alright, that looks like that's it. We got a little bit of money remaining, but we'll deal with it. Let's skip building upgrade available. This will probably So we're going to lose 30% research rate as soon as we build up the wisdom, but I don't think we have much of a choice in the matter. These things will probably go to 3 instead of 2. We're trying to get it down to 1, but who knows when we'll actually be able to get to it. I'm still not entirely sure what the actual percentage is supposed to be at to reach 1, but we are building those lone columns everywhere, so eventually we'll hit it and should be able to work through our entire tech tree relatively fast. Alright, I'm curious what Ikit will do, or where Ikit will go. Did he already move yet? It looks like he's not attacking us. Alright, I guess not. I'm also a little bit concerned about these guys sailing up here to the undefended interior donut territories, especially since our elven allies ain't doing all that much right now. May need to or want to send Anwar down there. I can't reach Ikit, sadly. Unless, wait, leave the settlement just for a sec. Yeah, no dice. I was wondering whether, like Norska, you had some kind of bonus when you went out to sea and that would give you something, but no. Alright, grab the fell cargo. I mean, you're here, why not? Constructor, you can sail to the wreck, and assuming you can auto-resolve this, let's also give the Razor Standard to one of the Tomb Guard. Auto-resolve. Alright, a little bit of damage. Let us take the money, rather than the jars, because now we're using a lot of money than we were before. Man, I missed the time when we had 40,000 gold in the bank and didn't have to do anything with it. Seasoned Campaigner for King Anwar, that's definitely true. Wisdom of the Fourth Dynasty, there it is. Defeat Garakis Castling, and treasure down below. No materials at sea or anything of the like. Sad, but oh well. You go right here. I would like to see whether we can pop you into some kind of ambush stance. Yes, we can. Alright, go right here. Stay in ambush stance. I don't know whether this orc will be able to spot us, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe Ikit will decide to come back. I also really don't want to stick around and protect the Bordelot for too long, but if we can actually get the Ikit defeat rate, which is 10% research rate, it is actually one we'd like to spam on the Tomb King, so I wouldn't say no. And, ooh, hello, what do we have here? These guys have retaken the Isle of Wights. Now, Khatep. Man, the game freaks out when I try to do this. Look at this. All the frame dropping, because it's trying to draw a map to reaching these guys, but it's not working. Bellicor's right there. I guess we just want to land and then hit the Isle of Wights and then these armies. Alright, fine. Go Khatep. He ain't afraid of no chaos. Well, these guys don't just run. Alright. The DJ has landed. Alright, channel, sit in channel. Oh, it's so nice not to have the attrition. Just complete immunity to attrition faction-wide. It's fantastic. You... It's at 39. I wish I remembered who we needed to kill. Also, Lamazash of the 4th Dynasty, was it? Yes. Melee attack and missile strength for Ushabti. You're leading the Ushabti army for obvious Ushabti reasons. Alright. Oh, that'll be nice. Rehobi, since you cannot recruit this turn, you are going to march stands here while Remerenef starts moving onward towards Shard Bastion. And, ooh, hello. Have Thor Mammoth Rider is there with, well, some decent defenses. Might actually be able to get a proper fight out of this. Go into Great Dynasties while you're at it. And we'll fight this in a sec. I want to see about moving everybody else around just in case there are more potential fights. And where the heck are you going? Is he actually ignoring Helebron, and Helebron is ignoring him? Kind of annoying. But oh well. Now... wait, is this the same I think this is a different Shakara. Yeah, they're both named Shakara, but this is a different Shakara. I was like, wait a second, Shakara is a Dreadlord, not a Supreme Sorceress. Alright, anyway, King Intinef. I guess what we're going to do with you is we're going to march you here. You don't have any heroes, and thus no mages. We'll probably want to get you a Lich Priest once we have a capacity for it. Alright, but I mean, you should still be able to win the fight decently well. You have lots and lots of Necropolis Knights after all, and let's face it, they're pretty darn good. Alrighty, keep moving here, just shadow and Arath, and we'll see what he does. The rest of you look good. Roprafos. I mean, I guess you could go around and go for an Arath here, but it probably also doesn't matter over much. Alright, I think it's time to declare war on Shakara. And so it's only a matter of time before she attacks us. Oh, wait. Would the Citadel of Dusk? No. I was wondering if they'd be willing to peace out if we declared war on Shakara, but alas, not the case. Where is she, incidentally? We saw her sailing by us. Huh. Did she disappear? I doubt that her army was destroyed, so it's probably down here somewhere. That's obviously Hicket. I just don't want King Roperfuss to get attacked by 2 stacks. I don't think he can deal with it. Well, either way. Let us go for Shakara then. Go here. And then declare war. Do we want these guys to... Yes. All right. Oh, I forgot you were on the Tomb Sphinx. War Sphinx, rather. All right, that's nice. Crushing defeat, you say? Well, we'll see about that. Let's get to you. The Tomb King battering ram, some stuff. I would like these guys to sally out. If it says crushing defeat, there's a decent likelihood that they'd be willing. Let's go for the Razor Standard on one of the Sepulchral Stalkers, and let's see if they're willing to come out and play. I know stances for you. But I can see why it says the crushing defeat, because we have no melee units and skeleton archers are basic tier 1 garbage. But they're also here to potentially activate the, keep wanting to say Tomb Swarm, the Realm of Souls. Alrighty, next up we have Diplomacy, or, okay, we don't have Diplomacy, I lied. Peace treaty with Shakara, that's not gonna happen. Shadow Legion, Legion of the Gore Queen, nah, we'll let them all die. Huh. How much would you be willing to pay us to peace out, Broken Axe? Out of curiosity. 16,000 gold. That's a lot of gold. That's a lot of gold. I don't think we can say no to that. We'll peace out with him, and then we'll just redeclare war on him in 10 turns. I wonder, wait, you know what? One thing. I would like to check how much is sacking Massive 4 Cavalry. That's basically worth nothing. Okay, 3,000 gold. Never mind. Give us the money. Alright. Alright, some of our allies won't appreciate us peacing out with him. Well, frankly, all of our vassals won't. And this also allows him to be at peace with all of our vassals. He's in a defensive alliance with Shadow Legion. It's kind of curious. And he's actually not fighting anybody, not even Talzin. Well, whatever. We'll ignore him for now. Let's kill Mr. Have-Thor here. And remember enough, go. Fire, Green Skulls. Oh, you know what? Let's get a few names in here while we're at it. Green Skulls. Mean, green, wow. Need grieve. Mean, green, machines. Sure. Let's do that. I mean, we should probably... Okay, well, I want to name some scorpions. It probably shouldn't be these scorpions. Frankly, you scorpions aren't going to be in this army, but, well, Pinchy's named. We'll probably pop them in a different army, but for now they can stay here. A rock lobster and claw baby. Alright, and I should name one of the Necropolis Knights. You know what, while we're here. Necropolis Knights with halberds or regular ones? Does it matter? I don't know. I'm just gonna name one of you because there's more of you. Let's go for Chosen of Kuaf. Like so. Alright, looks good to me. I don't know why I went to the other armies instead of naming stuff in here, but whatever, too late. Let's go for it. Alright, here we go. In theory, this battle shouldn't be a problem for this particular army. Granted, it is, in theory, our weakest army by virtue of its complete lack of armor piercing, and the basic units of the Krokagar Legion and the Green Skulls Skeletal Warriors. But it's not like the enemy is a pile of Chaos Warriors, it is a Norscan army, and thus not a lot of armor to go around except on the Marauder Champions, of which the enemy has relatively few. Anyway, we're going to start the battle up by moving our Lich High Priest forward, just to cast our first Skullstorm. Obviously, the idea is to annoy the enemy sufficiently, and so that they move forward towards us, as we have a pretty decent position up on a hill. Looks like the enemy Frost Wolves, Ice Wolves, whatever, give chase to our Lich High Priest, but he does have cover in the form of those Ushabti with Great Bow, firing away at said Ice Wolves. And they can hopefully hold the enemy back, but also move a little bit forward and get ready to get a few more shots off on the enemy. Looks like the enemy is somewhat blobbed up, so we are getting those soul blasts off from our Casket of Souls. And by the looks of it, that is more than sufficient to annoy the enemy, and they will at least start moving closer to us. Ushabti with Great Bow will continue firing into the middle of the enemy infantry formations. And they do a fairly decent job at it, as I believe, like cannons, they have... okay, that was actually terrible. None of those actually hit. But anyway, another Skull Storm off on the enemy, taking down a few of those Marauders, and... interesting that the Skull Storm rips them all, ripped them all in half, but anyway. The bombardment continues, let's say. Aha, pathetic. I'm not sure who you're laughing at, my friend. You guys have lost a decent pile of troops and have done nothing so far. Oh, perhaps he's saying pathetic because the Marauders with great weapons are running. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, looks like an enemy unit of Marauder horses has moved forward, and we're going to try to fire back at them with our Ushabti with Great Bow. I'm not so sure that they're going to be crazy effective against Marauders, and these are the Horse Masters as well. And they do have Weather the Storm like all Norscan, so 30% missile resistance is pretty darn decent. Now they were also firing sort of hull down, so they had the hill to rely upon. And those Javelins, I'm sure, are going to be able to do decent damage to the Ushabti if we let them. And gonna keep backing off and firing away once we have a little bit of distance opened up between us and the enemy. Our Casket of Souls will continue firing on those Marauders, and it's time to turn the Ushabti towards the enemy and fire back. There we go. I love the sound of the Ushabti with Great Bow firing. Definitely sounds like a giant bow being fired. Maybe not as giant as a bone giant, but a pretty big bow nonetheless. There we go. And keep firing away. It does look like every shot effectively knocks down one unit, although I just saw one tank one, so 1 to 2 shots per. That is a fair few amount of shots, however, to take down a single unit of Marauder Horsemasters. Does seem like it might be inefficient with the Ushabti with Great Bow, and it might be better to allow the archers to do it. We can see that the shootout has been going on for a while, and these guys are taking quite the long time to die. And they are firing back as well, and they've done at least some damage to the Ushabti with Great Bow. Not a crazy amount, admittedly. Anyway, keep on firing away and knocking those out. The Marauder Horsemasters, if nothing else, are eating a lot of our ammunition, so they've paid for themselves in that regard at least. On the bright side, though, even if the Ushabti with Great Bow were a little bit busy with those guys and losing about half of their ammunition, our Casket has continued to fire this entire time. It's got 51 kills so far and 13k damage, which is pretty good, considering that the battle hasn't really begun, or at the very least, the units have not engaged each other. Alright, not a bad shot at this particular distance, hitting those Marauder champions who are now down to half HP, considering they're the most threatening infantry unit that the enemy has. It's not too bad. One single axe whiffs, unfortunately. Would have been cool if it hit. Would have been cool if it had brought Ushabti down. But alas, not so much. Anyway, looks like we're continuing to back off. We've done a fairly decent amount of harassment of the enemy army, and it looks like the enemy is finally drawing close enough for the Krokagar Legion to begin firing. There we go. Fire over those green skulls and into the enemy Marauder Berserkers and regular Marauders. Looks like there are some armored skin wolves, or are these just regular? Nope, they are armored. Armored skin wolves moving towards us. And they did want to go after our Ushabti with Great Bow. They are anti-large after all. We're going to react to them by sending the Scorpions in and starting to focus them down with a little bit of good old-fashioned fire damage. Since the enemy does have regeneration, the fire damage is, or should be, fairly decently effective against those armored skin wolves. And the Scorpions look like they can anchor the line just fine. Anyway, the rest of the enemy army is moving in, and there we go. Look at those Marauder Horsemasters absolutely melt under fire from a archery unit. A little bit more efficient than using the great bows on them, but, well, if it works, it works. Anyway, we have a pretty decent position ourselves here with the hillside protecting our army. Does look like the enemy tried to get around this flank, but, well, that's why. We have a unit of green skulls out there. Enemy tries to charge forward, and we countercharge them with our scorpions, so that the charge is wasted on it rather than on our green skulls. And we'll send the green skulls into combat, just as the enemy skin wolves, armored skin wolves, return to the fight as well. You get another skull storm coming down in the enemy lines, and the ranks of the javelins in particular will feel that damage. Speaking of javelins, look at all those javelins stuck in the shields of our unit of green skulls here. With that said, shielded or not, they are starting to take damage and have lost about 25% of their HP. A unit of trolls attempts to flank us, but the Scorpion does manage to see them off. And once again, the fire is working decently against all that regen stuff. And now it's going to devolve into just holding the enemy line back while our Krokagar Legion and our Shabti with Great Bow and Casket do the damage. Obviously, the Green Skulls are just here more or less to hold the line and to actually activate the Realm of Souls, as this is one of the very few armies that's actually capable of it. Or at the very least likely of it, simply because of the sheer number of troops available to us in the Green Skulls. And they do have that going for them, admittedly. It's just that they're very fragile and it's kind of annoying to replace them. But now that we have the ability to replace them at one turn, it's a lot easier than it once was. Alright, it looks like a unit of Fimir will lead some Marauders with spears into yet another Scorpion. Scorpions always seem to be just where you need them. And of course another Skullstorm will come down on the enemy as well, just gotta keep those up and running. Balance of power is at about 95% in our favor now, and the enemy has failed to breach our lines of skeletons, and by the looks of it, the battle is pretty much ours. Since the enemy was unable to get any unit to move through our lines and towards our range units were able to do the damage necessary and send the Norskins running. Beautiful. Oh, well done to this army once again. Can it bring down that poor Marauder chieftain with fire arrows if they can? I was hoping that they could get one more shot off, but alas, it looks like they can't. Oh, but Ushabti with a great bow. Come on, there we go. I love the sound of those impacts as well. Anyway, great fight. Alright, very nice. Romarinov and the relatively basic troops of this particular army held off pretty nicely. 160 kills on the mean green machines and 17k damage. Damn. As soon as we give them a name, they apparently become very, very powerful. Certainly not an amount of damage I was expecting out of a basic skeleton warrior. Well, slightly more powerful, but yeah. Alright, the casket did well. I'm sure Romarinov with 83k damage and 631 kills thanks to those skull storms did well as well. And I believe we're good. Alright. Close victory. We will occupy the place. Wait, we're trading... Oh man, I don't remember whether we were at the edge of our territory. We could sack it. It's a decent chunk of change. Do we sack it? I think we sack it. Oh, damn, I missed. Oh, but we can still capture it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Skeletal Laborer, sure, you can have that. Storm and Necromancy, always. And Occupy. We don't get the jars for it, but it was a decent enough amount of money, so I think it will still be worth our time. Repair, and build a military structure of any kind, as we will be hopefully trading it to our allies. Definitely going to be wanting to do some of those switcheroos. Not yet, because we have to wait for the Palace of Ruin. Oh, although, just out of curiosity, would you trade the Glacial Gardens for Shard Bastion? Shard Bastion... Why don't you like past treaties with Hag-Grief, gifts given to Hargan? Oh, you don't like Hargan enough. Yeah, fair enough. Let us see. Glacial Gardens. Alright, not willing to trade it as yet, but that doesn't mean that they won't be willing to trade it. Just need to see about that military structure, and I think they will. Alrighty, that looks good. Now we got buildings to build, and we can end the turn, see if Khatep gets attacked, see if we can get anything out of the ambush with Anwar, and I think see whether whether Shakara, the other Shakara, we'll be able to sally out at Kara and Kara. And plus that'll be the first time we see a War Sphinx rather than a Necro Sphinx, if they do. Huh. I noticed that the Necro Sphinx is grayed out, but the Tomb King atop it is not, which is kind of interesting. What was I doing? Yes, building. Let's get back to this. A Red Desert, start with you yet again. You're at, 0. Perfect. And you're stuck at 77. I love it. A little bit more public order, and then we won't have to deal with it. So you can keep collecting money and remain as you are. You are at -3, so we got one more turn on you. Iron Coast, you are also at -3, but we got several turns that we can deal, and we don't have to deal with anything there. Arachdo Gorge, we can certainly build stuff up. Let us do, I don't know, you. Another one of those marble monoliths. And I guess we gotta keep building, so wait. We do this, no, I gotta build it. And we should still be okay. At -6 though, so we could do this for at least one more turn, as in collect money, and then have to go back to public order. Alright, River Brienne, Bordelot continuing to be ignored. Plain of Dogs, we shouldn't in theory need to do anything here. It's 75, not 85, that's the threshold, the cutoff, right? Yeah, it's 75. Alright, so you're good. Although there is a decent argument to be made for destroying the royal barracks and replacing it with a catapult building. Or a chariot building. We are building one in the Palace of Ruin, but we're going to trade it away. Anyway, I'll hold off for now. Alright, Frigid Foothills. Wait, no, that's Iron Foothills. I combined Frigid Wasteland with... yeah. Anyway, let's go for the next tier of harbor. We no longer need the royal barracks here in theory. And we can build up the Mastaba as well. Huh, wait, in 6 turns, you're actually going to be able to go up to Tomb City. You know what, maybe we ignore the Mastaba at Harkaldra. And just try to grow a little bit faster. In fact, we could actually switch you to Worship of Tron, maybe get this down to like 4 turns with a little bit more effort. I like that. Get Nagaround up and running faster. Not that we particularly need it, but you know. You are still... we're still waiting on public order, so we're not going to do anything there. Obsidian Peaks. You... I think we were waiting on public order for one more turn, but should be able to switch it now, so you can go into Worship of Construction Reduction. Safari. Nice for a little bit. Safari is fine, and is also waiting for public order, but we can build up the... well... nah, keep waiting for the public order, I guess. It'll get there. Let's maybe start working on the marble monolith. It'll take 4 turns anyway, so actually it'll take more than 4 turns. This will take 6. But you know what? I think we have a decent bit of money right now, so I think we can start building that thing up at Torfanu anyway, so not too big of a deal. Without the construction reduction even. Grand, your public order is good and you're in the appropriate construction reduction, so let's get you marble monolith here. And we will build up, I guess, the Faded Pyramidion here. Probably not the one that we should be prioritizing, though. You know what? Prioritize the one here instead, because then we can upgrade it to tier 3 and then get more growth. Public order, just stay as it is. Alright, that looks good to me. Next up, Hag Grief. Keep up with the Pyramidions, but don't prioritize the one... well, actually, this is the only one that isn't tier 3. Meaning, build this one up, and then build you up, and then stay in construction reduction. Titan Peaks, I thought I already checked you, but apparently not. You are at -4, meaning you have to switch to public order again. And I guess build something. Yeah, I kind of regret deleting all the Mortiferous Sanctuaries here, but the public order will eventually not be needed as soon as the place is tier 5, because then we won't need the speed up, so the public order will be able to drop anyway. So that's just fine. And just build up the Mortuary Sanctum for now. And wait, what are we at? Oh, 2. No, just build it up and build the other one here. We technically can wait on this one. And that, I assume, was the last one. Nope, I lied. Shardlands. Okay, yeah, but we don't have to do anything about Shardlands. I assume no Diplo this turn. And by the looks of it, there is not. And no missions either, meaning We should have some battles. Alright, unassigned skill points, you're non-mobiling upgrade available, outpost upgrade. Which one was it? The Harganeth one. How do you feel about us? You don't like us. Yeah, see, the Elven thing... I kind of screwed up. The Elven thing was going fine, but then as soon as we confederate or vassalized Kuran and Reichland, what happened is that Harganeth doesn't like them either. So while our relationship with Harganeth was stabilizing because of all the other elves, the humans threw a wrench into the situation, like they always do. So yeah, not much we can do about it right now. I'll try to swap some settlements to these guys once again, do a little bit of switcheroo once these things build up, but if it isn't possible, we may have to destroy Harganeth and just give their stuff to the other elves. It was always a distinct possibility, let's face it. Anyway, outpost upgrade available, don't do it for now. Let's end the turn, let's keep the money as it is. And we've got like 3 potential battles. Let's hope at least one of them works. Alright, Shakara. Alright, so there's okay, Scryer didn't go towards us. I wonder whether our ambush got foiled. It's a distinct possibility, let's face it. Alright, where is Karand Kar? Alright, Sisters of Twilight destroying a little tiny Norscan army. There it is, they will indeed sell out. Beautiful, that's exactly what I wanted. They got a Black Dragon, a War Hydra, they got Executioners, Blackguard, Cold One Dread Knights. Once again, the garrisons of the Dark Elves make our garrisons look absolutely pathetic by comparison. They keep getting all these tier 4 and 5 units, and in minor settlements as well. I mean, damn. Good job to them. Not so good job to our garbage garrisons. Go. Alright, here we go. Let's see what we can do with the ASAPH army, and of course with a little bit of help from our Wood Elf friends, though. With the red color scheme that they've got like that, I don't think they're going to be able to hide from anybody. It's a pretty conspicuous look, let's say, Deepwood Scouts. But anyway, obviously we Vanguard deployed our units of Spokal Stalkers as we like to do. They've got 79 speed, so they're very, very quick, and they can start up shotgunning the enemy army and then back off as needed. The enemy has a lot of elite infantry, and they need a good old-fashioned shotgunning. There we go. A couple of volleys will take about half of the HP off a unit of Bleak Swords and a tiny bit of HP, maybe 10 to 15% off a unit of Executioners. Hardly surprising that the Executioners can tank a lot more than a unit of basic Bleak Swords. That said, we've got more shotgun blasts where that came from. Simply back up to where hopefully the enemy range units aren't able to reach us, and then fire again. This is also where we can hopefully make some decent use of our first Bone Giant. Trying to work on the capacity for these guys. They do look pretty neat. But in this particular battle, this guy has, well, we're going to have to use him to keep that dragon back, stagger it if we can. Ooh, love the glow of that arrow. And fire away, my friend. Okay, you better not miss this after I slow motion, after I went through the trouble here. And... alright, it does look like a hit, and damn, it looks like a pretty big impact. But it isn't a crazy amount of damage, maybe 5% of the HP. Generally speaking, in terms of pure damage, the Ushabti with Great Bow deal more, but the stagger shot, once again, is quite valuable. Alright, now we also have our Kemrian War Sphinx riding Lord, who will countercharge the enemy Dread Knights and allow a few more of those shotgun blasts to move in. I love watching the Sepulchral Stalkers working together with the bow units as the arrows arc overhead and down on the enemy, as, well, lots and lots of those infantry are dropping. And you know what? The Swift Shiver shards from the Wood Elves do sort of match the Screaming Skull Catapult and the fire from the Giant. So it's kind of working for me. In fact, it's kind of working for me more than our own arrows are, but, oh well. Anyway, it does look like our Tomb King has taken a little bit of damage, and we will back off rather than fight the Death Hag directly, at least while the enemy has so many units surrounding it. And this will allow us to open up a little bit of space as we drop a little bit of spell work, a Skullstorm on the enemy, and continue firing at them. It looks like the dragon has lifted off at a pretty good time for it, and we'll get a black dragon breath on our unit of Swift Shiver Shards, who had a pretty bad day, or at least this particular unit. And that said, that means the dragon is also not going to be in such great shape, as all of our range units will fire upon it while it does that dragon breath and knock it out of the sky. Doing the dragon breath is the most dangerous for the dragon when the enemy has a decent amount of range units. So it played itself in a way, even if it did manage to do a decent bit of damage. Khemrian War Sphinx bounding through the enemy ranks, and just shadowing the Hydra as it attempts to approach us. We are, of course, firing on the Hydra, and we'll add a few more units to the fire, but, well, it looks like we won't be able to stop it doing its Hydra breath either. There we go, the Hydra Breath comes in, and once again, a few of the shots, I guess, will get blocked by our Bone Giant, but the rest will hit another unit of our Swift Shiver Shards. The AI, I guess, really doesn't like those. The battle's still going, but the Hydra's in bad shape, being focused down by everything, and the Khemrian War Sphinx has moved towards it. A clash of the Titans, but probably not a very long one, as the Hydra will break. Nice shot to its flanks from the Bone Giant, and we finish it off by hitting its corpse with that Screaming Skull Catapult. Another Skullstorm will come down right in the middle of the ranks, and the battle is still going. Alright, looks like the enemy will move towards our Bone Giant, who will just punch the... he'll just start punching the Dread Knights. Well done, fella. I need some names for these guys. Though we definitely are going to need to get a few more. Anyway, looks like the enemy army is in very bad shape now. They have more or less failed to breach our lines and will be backing off. I also got to point out that in the back line, we've had this one unit of Sepulchral Stalkers, the Buried Sentinels, who are just running around or slithering around and hitting enemy Dark Shards in the back line. Obviously wasn't as interesting as the sort of clash in the center of the battlefield. It was pretty fun as well. Anyway, there we go. With that, the enemy army will break and the battle will be ours. Looks like we did suffer quite a bit of damage on, well, those two units of Swift Shiver Shards that took those breath attacks, but otherwise we should be pretty okay. This army should also be pretty darn adept at chasing enemy units, while the Skeleton Archers are very slow and probably won't add anything to it. Our Swift Shiver Shards can fire while moving, and our Snakes are obviously quite quick at doing that as well. Actually, kind of surprising that the Sepulchral Stalkers don't have poison on their melee attacks as well. All things considered, maybe they don't bite. Wait, the Necropolis Knights do, and they're both Necro Serpents. I wonder why. Maybe it was just thought that the Sepulchral Stalkers would be too powerful if they had poison attacks as well. Alright, there we go. Nice and decisive, I should think, though we get barely any reward out of Endless March. We can effectively heal our entire army to full, just in case I miss the other enemy army, and they'll move in to reinforce. Not that after that I expect them to be able to pull anything off. Once again, and as usual, the Sepulchral Stalkers did fantastic. Once again, I do really love the unit, so I've been using them quite a bit. Everybody jives with certain units depending, but anyway, Bone Giant did okay. 7.1k, nothing crazy. I was mostly using its stagger shot on the Black Dragon and the War Hydra in that particular battle, as the slowdown helped to bring them down a little bit short of reaching our lines, though not short of using their breath attacks, as they targeted our Deepwood Scouts. Both of them did, in fact, which was kind of interesting. I wonder if the AI is going to be consistently targeting the Wood Elf units here. Anyway, bind the souls. And, oh, this thing is still up. Oh, 20% research rate reduction. That's not great. That's not great. The miscast base chance is probably fine. At least it's fine with Khatep. Not entirely sure about the rest. Yeah, this certainly appeared much later in the game. The thing is, I feel like we could do without now. I mean, yeah, it would be in... It also does a negative public order and a negative growth thing, doesn't it? And I don't think we want that interrupting our campaign right now, because it'll be like 10 turns where we lose. Yeah, just don't bother with it. The reward isn't anything crazy. And hey, Shakara's moving back. All right, there she is. At least we found her. Ally mobilizes towards settlement. That's fine. Sacrifice to Mathland, enemy killed in battle. Constructor and Dynasty Research to Lamazage is ready to move. Speaking of Lamazage, we can pop him up here at level 12 with his superpowered Ushabti. Beautiful. Alright, Lamazage on field, and other than the +5 melee attack for Ushabti and the 20% missile resistance, or missile strength rather, for the other Ushabti, we can get him... I have to be rank 15 for the other stuff? No, it's a bit of a shame. What can he also do? Ooh, control +1 for all provinces. Yes, please. Diplomatic relations +5 with all factions. Campaign movement range +5 for armies. Oh my. King Lamazage. I love you. Weapon strength when fighting against vampires. Yeah, that's not going to happen. He also buffs scorpions a little bit. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. We could mix in a couple scorpions with the Ushabti, I suppose, if we wanted to. There's certainly potential for it. And more melee defense for the Ushabti. Obviously, he's going to go for Geheb, God of Earth, and more buffs for every kind of Ushabti. We'll get you Root Marcher, Passage to Soul Realm, and then just Revered Stonemasonry to buff the Ushabti. They're not high enough rank to get any benefit from this. And then I think we'll save... Wait. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, and we'd want to get them all. So we're actually able to spend, what, like 2 more points? Or whatever. What do we want to spend it on? Return in Madness is fine for the Lord. What are you on, by the way? Oh, you're on foot. Probably going to be fine since you're on foot. It's not super concerning. And I guess we could get more Canopic Jar Hoarder. You can never go wrong with Canopic Jar Hoarder after all, although at this point... Not looking so bad. I'm getting about 100 jars per turn, eh? Also, how's that research rate? Okay, we're still at 2, which is not too bad. Now, do we want to get the Proclamation of the Fourth Dynasty? Sacking and looting, ambush success chance, and construction costs for walls, citadel, and estate buildings. What are estate buildings? So this is a treasure building. Okay, this is a citadel, but we only pretty much ever need one of these. Citadel. Wall is, yeah, we're not gonna build it. What about this? Oh, estate is the Royal Burial Chamber, which we do build everywhere. I guess this will eventually save us some money. You know, let's do the Faded Inscriptions first, just for the little bit of research rate and miscast base chance reduction, and then we'll see about it afterwards. Using up a lot of our Canopic Jars, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, and we'll probably get this Necrotect as well. We need more Necrotects for those Ushabti. Alright. Looking okay. Anyway, King Lamazage, just hold on to your point, you'll be fine. King Araru, you're gonna transfer this, and you're gonna keep recruiting stuff, I guess. Or I guess we could... wait. Maybe I should have kept the Scorpions in this army after all. You know what, until we get the Necrotects... Oh, we can't build the Scorpions here anyway. We have to build them in, I think, this territory? No. This territory down here? Well, we're going to pass through this territory anyway, so I think that's fine. Assuming you can build them in 1 turn, which you cannot. We can get you some Tomb Barks, potentially. Alright, Araru. Well, you're in March stance anyway, so you're just fine as you are. Alright, let's get back to what we were doing. Khatep. You have arrived here at the Isle of Wights, where there are some basic garbage enemies. I see Wolfie is moving around, eh? Wolfie and Shakara. I need to deal with this. Alright, Roprifos. You're going to capture Shakara in its current state. Auto-resolve. Let's hope that this doesn't hurt us too much. And occupy. Don't bother sacking it. I'd love the cash, but, you know. We need to potentially trade this away. Oh, it got rid of the buildings. I wanted to trade it immediately to Harganeth. How much is it worth to you? What's Car? 18's basically not worth much. Oh my. It's not so great. Man, Valkia's back. Might give us a fight here. You go into ambush stance. Well, actually, no, it's probably pointless. Just go into regular stance and stick around here. What about you? We could loop around to Shagrath in the Frozen City, and I think that's probably the best use of our time. The Silver Tower of Sorcerers and stuff, this is all Siggy's domain, and we're better off just dealing or finishing off Valkia. Go into Entomb Beneath the Sands, just in case there's armies here. I don't see them, though. And then Shagrath in the Frozen City should be easy takes, while Rehobi can move into Shard Bastion in regular stance. At least until we build up the building, and then promptly build... Wait. Oh, right, we need to complete the mission. Just gotta try to get those War Dancers. Right. Khatep. Go into Great Dynasties. And tech this. What do we have here? Close victory against this. Well, I think we've no choice but to fight this, and the simple reason is that Bellacor's are right here and could attack us next turn and possibly raise additional troops, so I don't think we can risk that. So we won't. Let's move everybody else around and then we'll attack. Where is Kit? Ah, our ambush did not get foiled, but Kit did decide to run away. What a cowardly little ratling. I'm kind of tempted to take Mousillon and give it to Bretonia, but also we could just tell you to take it. Oh, he's going after these guys. Man, can't leave Bordelot. You know what we can do? Go into ambush stance. I was gonna actually send you up here to deal with this. Is there anything we... How much money would you give us for Bordelot? 175. Yeah, basically no money. The faction is unfortunately quite poor. It is generating 623 money for us. And the funny thing is, it might actually be worth keeping it. It's just that we don't have an army to defend it. We need to potentially replace the Necro Serpent Nest, although it does provide 2 Sepulchral Stalkers, with a Sandstone Wall, which also provides 2 Sepulchral Stalkers, but also 2 Shabti. But in its current state, the garrison is just garbage. But it'll actually still be garbage even if we do build this up. That's the thing. That's the problem with all of this. Well, nonetheless, I wonder how many turns it'll take to build this. 4? It might come back by that point. You know what, move down here, we'll see. We'll see if we can spot him. Maybe he landed at Brianna, and if he did, we might be able to ambush him, so... And just do this. And then we'll see. I don't want to get close to Turg here, because then he might stop our ambush. Alright, the rest of this is looking good. Let's do the buildings, and then let's fight with Khatep, and then let's end the turn. Alrighty. Buildings yet again. Red Desert, you are fine. And in fact, your public order is looking good now. Especially with none of that whisper stuff to interrupt us. Ashen Coast, I believe this was the last turn that you can collect money, unfortunately. I mean, in theory. In practice, we could allow it to drop a little bit more and then fix it up later. Which is what I think we'll do. Iron Coast, you are fine as you are. You are also dropping, but keep collecting money. Iron Mountains, we are going to... It's -6 now, so we have to undo this. Meaning, we'll go for the Crumbling Temple, we'll go for the Golden Age Monument, and then we'll go for Worship of ASAPH. There we go. Alright, Iron Sand. You're, I believe, fine. At least for a while. Collect money and whatnot. Bordelot, we're ignoring you for now. Karand. I mean, once again, most likely we'll be trading it, but just in case we don't, go for Worship of Construction Reduction. We'll build a garrison and military structure here. Alrighty, Palace of Ruin, one more turn until you're tradable. Nagarond, you... are looking to grow for 4 more turns, maybe 3 if we put the mortuary house in there, put it in, see how it works out. Slanesh, giggle. Dagrax and Iron Dagrax and you... What are you at? 80, meaning you can switch to Worship of Construction Reduction. Beautiful. Obsidian Peaks, you're already in that, and... guess more Golden Age monuments. Yeah, go for it. And then here, and then here, and then these are going to be Golden Age monuments. We will need you. You're fine as you are, at least for now. Good. Safari. Still waiting for that public order, but we can build a Golden Age monument here. Man, these are expensive. And I thought we were getting reductions on those, but it feels like they're getting more expensive. Unless every single one makes every single new one more expensive. Which is a distinct possibility, but anyway. You can go for the lone column, you can go for the Pyramidion, and we've no anything remaining to build another. Black Flood, let's go for the next Golden Age monument. And this will need to be upgraded next turn, but then we can start collecting money and switch to Worship of ASAPH as well. These things aren't expensive to build either. But nonetheless, wait until next turn. City of Quintex, you are nearing the restored tomb, and oh. I should have built that revered mausoleum, should I not have? Oh, why can we not do this? You cannot build this building before constructing all required buildings in this... oh, we're just waiting for this to come up. Yeah, that's fine. Switch to Worship of Construction Reduction. And we could build you. Go for it. Or we could do it next turn once the construction reduction is up and running. Yeah, fine. Alright, and Shardlands we're ignoring. Alright, looks good. Alright, Khatep, time to fight, briefly or not. Here we come. Slanesh, giggle. Ah, back to the old sacrifice them. That's what I like to hear. Anyway, here we go, a decent pile of Vanaheimlings here perhaps, but, well, as to what they'll be able to do against the caskets with a fairly infantry-heavy army, I don't know. But I'd wager it won't be all that much. Anyway, we've deployed our Eyes of the Desert Sepulchral Stalkers, who are starting off with those shotgun blasts into the enemy as the casket and the Screaming Skulls scream overhead. I'm going to be able to soften up the enemy army quite a bit by the looks of it before they get to our lines, and I'm sure a decent amount of the enemy units will attempt to do the dance to avoid shots like this. So, the enemy army will probably lose cohesion and not be able to hit our ranks at the same time as it would like. A very nice shot from, well, one of the caskets. Don't know whether it was Khatep's or not, and I have another very nice shot as well, followed up by a Skull Storm on top of it, adding injury to injury. The enemy is attempting to flank us with a Marauder Horseman with throwing axes on one side and on two sides, but we'll react to them with the Necropolis Knights, while the enemy Lord attempts to charge forth and will be focused by the Sphinx of Usek. It's killed many, many lords and much stronger ones than you, Random Chieftain. Speaking of Random Chieftain, he's down to about half HP and terrified, as well he should be. Many lords, well, should have learned the fear of the Sphinx of Usek. Anyway, looks like the flanks are secure. The Marauder Horsemen are having a pretty darn bad time against the Venom Knights, but it does look like a decent pile of enemy units is finally starting to make their way forward and towards our main line. Once again, the left flank is, well, exactly the same way as the right flank, as the Marauder horses get overrun by the Venom Knights, or actually these are just the regular Necropolis Knights, plus the Storm Riders of Xar. Alright, it does look like we'll be getting at least a little bit of action for our Tomb Guard, who countercharge the enemy. Perhaps it would have been better to brace them, but I don't know, whatever. Alright, and I do believe the enemy chieftain is just about done for. He has come back, but he won't be here for long, I'd wager, and will in fact attempt to run away. Alright, getting a little bit of other spell work down as the... Weird. Ah, there we go. For some reason, the battle sounds disappeared. But they're back now. I don't know if it was the two vortexes doing that at the same time, but well, it felt a little bit weird. Anyway, bounce power's at about 90% in our favor, maybe even 95. The enemy just got too badly damaged by our artillery to really do anything. Following the enemy main chieftain, looks like there's a little chieftain out here as well, but the Sphinx of ASAPH can kill these guys for a whole day. No problem at all. Anyway, looks like the enemy army is mostly booking it on out of there, though there are reinforcements that have arrived. Not particularly numerous, but we've got a little bit more cavalry on cavalry action. Alright, a lot of screaming from the Marauder horses. These are the throwing axe variants, so they can fight fairly well in melee, as we've seen in the Wolfric campaign. 43-53, pretty darn solid. Plus, of course, all the Norskins have that rage ability, so they'll get additional attack and physical resistance as well. It does look like they are booking it on out of there, and in fact, the entire army will rout as the reinforcements arrive too late to make any kind of difference. We're going to pop a Fated Biuna and a Spirit Leech on the enemy, and then try to chase them down with the Necropolis Knights and the Spokal Stalkers and the Nehekara Horsemen as well. I love the effect of the Storm Riders as well. I'm not gonna miss those guys with those glowing hooves that they've got. Anyway, we'll see if we can try to destroy the reinforcements because, well, they are outside of the settlement and we don't want to bother chasing them down. Alright, there we go, no problem, minimal damage, enemy destroyed, settlement occupied, and, well, we are now within striking distance, and damn, I guess Bellicor was the option for, I hope that the Wood Elves were from Bellicor, but anyway, we need those War Dancers. Yeah, mission successful, great. Khatep is at the Isle of Wight, don't bother collecting income, and frankly, once again, I'd love to trade it away because we can't really fortify it, but I guess King Anwar can serve for that particular purpose if we choose to give away Bordelot, which we very well could. Anyway, I do believe there's nothing else that we need to do this turn unless I'm mistaken, so let's end it. Though we don't really have time to fight another battle this episode, I just like to end the turn so I can do the admin in between the episodes, or at least for next turn. I'm also hoping that Bellicor doesn't attempt to run away and will attempt to actually defend Conquata, because otherwise it'll be annoying. Malice wants a peace treaty, but no. And, oh, I see the Nemesis crown up there again. Well, isn't that cute? No, funnily enough, the Nemesis crown would make the Dark Elves like us quite a bit more because of the sort of favoritism that they show towards it, but alas, I don't think we're going to go all the way up there to attempt to find it. Ally mobilizes, Dynasty researched, a little bit more research, a little bit less miscast, Cultist of Osirian, and we're good to go. And by the looks of it, Wulfric is setting up outside of Karan Kar, and King Roprafos and the ASAPH army will be able to go after him, which I think we can certainly enjoy doing. Not so sure about Shakara here, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, with that, folks, we're out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here. Next time, looks like the lizards are mustering at our borders again. Well, fortunately for us, we're about to be mustering at their borders ourselves as the Ushabti army is up and running, and we've got, what? Cleric Spire is, well, still a fair bit until we get tier 5 and access to the most elite of our units, but we're certainly getting there. I think that within the next couple of episodes, as soon as we take out Bellicor, essentially, and our borders are completely shored up, we'll probably have like 10 turns where we're mostly just traveling southward and sending our armies down, so that'll be good to allow us to grow quite a bit, and thereafter get access to all of those missing units. But, well, Tomb Kings grow slow, it's pretty normal. Hopefully we'll get there soon. Anyway, calling it here, more Khatep to come, and, well, most likely we'll be moving this particular campaign to the second channel rather shortly, as the interest is, of course, dropping, but I'm not done with this one, not at least until I get some Hydro Titans on the field, as well as Sphinxes and whatnot, and until we get all the books. We have things to do, after all. So, stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and there's Zicket. And thanks for watching.